Good morning, America. New overnight brutal blast. Heavy snow in the Midwest causing this massive 34-car pileup and this fiery crash. Mail carriers carrying on. We have team coverage of this storm and the frigid blast that's on its way.
The breaking news this morning, a terror attack in Turkey, a key U.S. ally. The explosion outside Istanbul's main soccer stadium, and moments later, another one. Dozens of police officers killed, newscasters caught by surprise. This attack part of a bloody weekend wave, including bombings in Egypt and Nigeria.
And Trump's team, the man believed to be the president-elect's likely pick for Secretary of State.
He's a world-class player.
ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson, his close business ties with Russia raising concerns. Democrats calling it a victory for Vladimir Putin.
And going rogue.
Are you with me?
The world premiere of the long-awaited Star Wars story, Rogue One.
There are a lot of surprises in the film that people are going to enjoy.
Our Nick Watt right there questioning some tight-lipped stars.
There are no lightsabers.
We're on the red carpet as the Force takes over Hollywood this morning.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
And good morning, everyone, on what is a brutal and frigid Sunday morning for much of America. And while it may be cold right now, well, we have bad news because it's about to get even colder.
Yeah, take a look at the map. The country about to be invaded by a big blast of Arctic air, the coldest in 2 years. It's going to be a very long and cold week for tens of millions of us.
Yes, bundle up. Meantime, the Midwest is dealing with a winter storm this morning. It's the second in a row in some areas that are still digging out from that last round. Now, in addition to the snow, slick roads and freezing temperatures are only making matters worse.
We're going to check in with Rob for the big picture in just a moment, but let's start in Chicago with ABC's Alex Perez. Alex, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Good morning, Paula. This massive storm spread across over more than 1,000 miles. In some areas, the snow accumulating very quickly.
This morning, millions of Americans in major cities across the Midwest and Northeast getting slammed with heavy snow. In Minneapolis, treacherous travel, cars losing control, flames shooting 14 feet in the air in this intense, fiery crash. Firefighters battling the blaze in 5-degree temperatures. Near Cleveland, more than 30 inches of snow piling up. Overnight, icy roads causing spinouts in Chicago. This car turned over on its side.
I've seen a couple of mishaps out there on the expressway on the way out here.
On I-75 near Flint, Michigan, a massive 34-car pileup, leaving the interstate flooded with emergency vehicles. Winds gusting over 20 miles per hour in some places as the storm marches east, visibility dropping to less than half a mile. Many airports also feeling the effects of the storm, planes being de-iced. Chicago's O'Hare Airport already canceling over 1,000 flights.
And here in Chicago, we're bracing for a second dose of heavy snow this afternoon before this storm heads east and creates trouble there. Dan?
Thank you for that, Alex. As we said, the snow is only part of the story. The country is about to be hit with a huge blast of frigid air, and Rob is out in Central Park in New York City with much more on that. Hey, Rob.
Good morning, Dan. Already cold enough to snow here, and as Alex mentioned, it's all heading this way, and we've got another cold blast behind it. Let's look at the radar and show you where the snow is and where it's heading. Chicago, Detroit, Pittsburgh, you're getting it now, and it's all pushing across the Great Lakes, and it'll fill in behind Chicago, so you're not quite done yet. As far as the advisories go, they are beginning to stretch towards the East Coast, so all the way from lower Minnesota up to northern New England, winter storm watches and weather advisories. Even into Boston, we could see some accumulating snow in just outside of New York City, but the pink areas from Chicago to Detroit could see 6 to 12 inches of snow and some pockets of that across parts of the Northeast. But here comes the cold. These are this morning's wind chills. Nothing to shake a stick at here. 5 in Minneapolis, 16 in Chicago. But look at the Arctic air that's building and will be released down into the lower 48. -4 the wind chill in Chicago on Wednesday, and even colder as we get through Thursday. And the really core stuff gets it to us on Friday. So a week from now, it's really going to be cold. We'll time out the snow hour by hour in just a few minutes. Paula, back to you.
All right, those are bone-chilling temperatures, Rob. We'll see you back in studio in a little bit. We want to turn now to a major attack in Turkey, a country that is a key U.S. ally. Twin blasts rocking the area right outside a soccer soccer stadium, killing dozens of police officers. Now, sadly, this is just part of what has turned out to be a weekend of terror that has seen attacks in Egypt and Nigeria. ABC's Lama Hassan joins us from our London bureau with more. Hi, Lama.
Good morning to you, Paula. Well, two powerful explosions ripped through the heart of Istanbul on a bustling Saturday night in an area popular with tourists. And Turkish officials say they believe the attackers were targeting police and security forces.
They were the deadliest attacks in Turkey's largest city, Istanbul, in months. A car bomb was detonated remotely, targeting a police van, exploding outside the city's main soccer stadium just hours after the end of a match. These newscasters inside the stadium running for cover. Plumes of smoke rising above the stadium, the impact of the blast was felt across the city, smashing windows and damaging cars. Then gunfire ringing out, warning shots fired by police. According to Turkey's deputy prime minister, 45 seconds after the first car bomb, a suicide bomber was stopped by police and he then blew himself up. There's been a bloody wave of terror attacks in the last 24 hours, spreading to Egypt, where eyewitnesses say a woman placed a bag packed with explosives inside Cairo's Coptic church, killing at least 25 people, most of them women and children attending a Sunday service. And in Nigeria, two suicide bombers striking just minutes apart in a crowded market. The blasts are blamed on the Islamist militant group Boko Haram. In Turkey, the twin blasts, just the latest coordinated attack targeting police forces, and this one, now the largest assault in the city to date.
Now, while there is no official claim of responsibility yet, the Turkish deputy prime minister says this deadly attack targeting police bears all the hallmarks of the Kurdish militant group, the PKK, which has a history of attacking the country's security forces. Dan.
Lama, thank you. As we said, a very violent weekend. We're going to turn now to the formation of the Trump administration and news on one of the most high-profile jobs in Washington. Officials with the Trump transition team telling ABC News the president-elect is likely to name this gentleman, Rex Tillerson, the head of ExxonMobil, as his Secretary of State. This choice would not be without controversy, however. And ABC's Mary Bruce is on the story from the White House. Mary, good morning to you.
Good morning. Well, the Trump team tells us no offer has been made just yet, but this morning the president-elect is praising his likely pick. Tillerson is a successful oil executive. He's made deals around the world and built relationships with foreign leaders, but it's those relationships that are also causing some concern.
He's much more than a business executive. I mean, he's a world-class player.
And this morning, Rex Tillerson could also be the first Secretary of State in American history with zero government experience. The ExxonMobil CEO is now Trump's likely pick to be the nation's top diplomat. And already his business ties with Russia are raising concerns. That's Tillerson in this 2013 Russian government video, shaking hands with President Putin as he receives the Order of Friendship award. But Trump says those connections are a good thing.
To me, a great advantage is he knows many of the players, and he knows them well. He does massive deals in Russia. He does massive deals for the company, not for himself, for the company.
The DNC is blasting the pick as outrageous and a victory for Vladimir Putin. Republicans are also chiming in.
I have obviously concerns of reports of his relationship with Vladimir Putin, who is a thug and a murderer.
Tillerson's likely deputy secretary is also raising eyebrows. John Bolton, a former State Department official and UN ambassador, would bring government experience to the leadership team. But he's also a Washington insider. Known for being extremely hawkish, he still defends the Iraq War. The picks come as Trump's team is fighting back against a Washington Post report that Russia interfered in the U.S. presidential election to help Trump win.
What proof does anyone have that they affected the outcome? Because I've heard zero.
This morning, Russia's motives remain unclear, but a top intelligence official tells ABC News there is evidence that both parties were targeted, but that only material hacked from the Democrats was made public. The RNC says that's not true.
We have not been hacked. Our own systems show that we have not been hacked.
And now the Trump transition team is also questioning the credibility of the CIA. This morning, that distrust is sending shockwaves through the intelligence community. The concern is that once Trump is here at the White House, he may not trust the intelligence he's given to make critical decisions. Dan and Paula.
Shockwaves for sure. Mary, thank you. And ABC News chief anchor George Stephanopoulos is with us now. George is going to be hosting This Week later this morning. Hi there, George. Let's start with Rex Tillerson. There's so many concerns about his ties with Russia. Of course, he needs Senate approval. Do you expect those ties to really give him a hard time? You heard what John McCain was saying. Even Republicans are concerned.
Well, he's going to face a lot of questions at the confirmation hearing. There's no question about that. Whether or not he'll be voted down depends on what they discover during those hearings. But you're right. He's going to face questions from John McCain, from Lindsey Graham about his ties to Vladimir Putin. He got that order of friendship from Vladimir Putin back in 2012, which is one of the highest civilian honors that Russia can give out. He's also called for lifting sanctions on Russia. We'll face questions about that. Also, we'll face questions from Democrats like Senator Ed Markey, who say this is turning over the keys of diplomacy to the big oil. And so there'll be big questions about that as well from both sides. How he handles those questions will determine if he gets picked, whether he gets confirmed.
Let's talk about this, what appears to be a rift between the incoming president.
Appears to be.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to put it carefully. Between the incoming president and the intelligence community. As we know, there's reports that the intelligence community believes Russia intervened to try to tilt the election toward Trump. Trump responded by saying these are the same people that said Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. So what does that say about Trump's ability to work with the intelligence people upon whom he will rely?
That's going to be a big question. Let's dial the clock back just a little bit. Remember back in October, 17 intelligence agencies concluded that Russia was trying to interfere in the election. They didn't give the motive there. They just said maybe they're trying to cast mischief. Donald Trump hasn't accepted that conclusion either. Now he's questioning the conclusion of the CIA that they were trying to actually help Trump win. It was kind of a stunning rebuke. A lot of intelligence officials thought for him to be questioning the intelligence in this way at this time, at the same time that he's actually, according to some reports, not really relying on those presidential daily briefs that both presidents and presidents-elect get every single day. Said he's only being briefed about once a week. We're going to talk to Reince Priebus, his incoming chief of staff, about that and about what the relationship with the intelligence community is likely to be inside a Trump administration.
Now, of course, these intelligence reports have only been corroborated by the Times and the Washington Post. We're basing much of our reporting on them. Do you think there's any chance that the intelligence is being politicized here?
Well, I don't think we know the answer to that. I think that this is the conclusions of the professionals, the intelligence professionals. I mean, it's kind of the reverse of the situation that Donald Trump was talking about in his statement, where during the Iraq War, the allegation was that the White House was coming in, was cherry-picking the intelligence that they were getting from the professionals. But this is the conclusion right now of the intelligence professionals. President Obama has ordered an entire review of the intelligence. He wants a report on his desk before January 20th that has a comprehensive look at how and whether Russia intervened in our elections.
More on this story to come for sure. George, thank you. And I want to remind everybody that George has a big show this morning. He's going to ask Donald Trump's incoming chief of staff, Reince Priebus, if the RNC was hacked by the Russians. Also, Senators Rand Paul and Claire McCaskill will weigh in on how the Senate will work with the new Trump administration. That's all coming up later this morning on This Week, right here on ABC.
Great to have you, George. Yes. Thanks, Dan. And now to the trial for the man accused of murdering former New Orleans Saints star Will Smith back in April. The jury could begin deliberating as early as this evening, with attorneys set to give their closing arguments. And ABC's Marcy Gonzalez joins us with details. Good morning, Marcy.
Good morning, Paula and Dan. And now for the first time, we're hearing from the murder suspect, testifying that he shot the Super Bowl winner because he feared for his life.
This morning, closing arguments in the trial of the man accused of killing former NFL star Will Smith in a fit of road rage. The case wrapping up after suspect Cardell Hayes took the stand with a surprising self-defense claim, telling jurors Smith was the aggressor, contradicting witness accounts.
I heard pop, 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 pop.
This surveillance video from April in New Orleans appears to show Hayes' red Hummer. You see the Mercedes behind him, driven by Smith, seemingly bump the vehicle, then drive away. Hayes telling the jury he followed the Mercedes to get the license plate number, then accidentally rear-ended it, testifying that's when Will punched me 3 or 4 times, something never mentioned by witnesses. Hayes going on to say Smith turned around with a gun in his hand, and I heard a pop, a shot from Smith.
Whether or not the jury believes Hayes is going to be what determines the destiny of this case.
Hayes shooting Smith 8 times, 7 of the bullets hitting him in the back. Hayes also denying firing the 2 shots that hit Smith's wife in the leg. The prosecutor pressing Hayes, saying all the gun casings come from one gun, your gun. Hayes replying, I can't say who shot her.
And while a loaded gun was found in Smith's car, investigators say there's no evidence it was ever fired. The case is expected to go to the jury later today. If convicted, Hayes faces life in prison.
And we will continue to cover this case right here on ABC. Marcy, thank you very much. A lot of other news this morning, and for that, as always, let's get it over to Ron. Hey, man.
Hey, good morning to you, Dan and Paula. Good morning, everyone. We begin overseas with Defense Secretary Ash Carter making a surprise visit to Iraq. Carter is expected to spend his day thanking U.S. soldiers there and getting briefed on the Iraqi military offensive to retake the city of Mosul from ISIS. Meanwhile, the battle against ISIS intensifying in Syria, where we were learning this morning that the Islamic State has regained control of the ancient city of Palmyra after Syrian forces had driven them out of there 9 months ago. And breaking news overnight from southern Nigeria, where a roof collapse at a church has killed at least 160 worshipers inside. Officials saying that hospitals and morgues are overflowing, and they expect that final toll to be even much higher. The church was still under construction when the roof caved in. And back here in the U.S., in Louisiana, Republican John Kennedy was the winner in a runoff for that state's Senate race. Kennedy got 63% of the vote to easily defeat Democrat Foster Campbell. His win gives the Republicans a 4-vote edge in the U.S. Senate, 52 to 48. And police in Anaheim, California say a street race in the middle of the night led to a deadly and fiery car crash. One car going out of control and colliding into some parked cars, then hit an apartment building and burst into flames. 2 people inside of that car died. Another was taken to the hospital. And the Swedish Academy handed out this year's Nobel Prizes in Stockholm, Sweden. And Bob Dylan, recipient of the prize for literature, was, of course, a no-show. The singer-songwriter told the Academy that he told them in advance he couldn't make it because of other commitments. Instead, some of his music was performed by longtime friend Patti Smith.
It's a hundred.
Dylan's acceptance speech, there's a brief excerpt there, was read on his behalf. He said being included in that pantheon of Nobel-winning literary greats was, quote, truly beyond words.
So he had other commitments? What were they? What could be more important?
He never actually said what they were, but we have to assume they were more pressing than the Nobel Prize.
Very bizarre.
Whatever that is.
Very bizarre.
Hey, that's Dylan.
Busy.
And finally, a big day, actually a medium-sized day in college football, because there was only one major football game. That was Army against Navy. Army snapping a 14-game losing streak against their arch-rival Navy, coming back in the fourth quarter to win that game 21-17. President-elect Trump taking time out from his busy schedule to attend the game, as you see there. And then Louisville Cardinals sophomore quarterback Lamar Jackson became the school's first ever Heisman Trophy winner. The 19-year-old tossed 51 touchdown passes this season, an average 410 total yards in offense per game for the Cardinals. Dan, that's a lot of yards.
They were lucky he decided to show up.
Yes.
He didn't want to pull a
Bob Dylan on him. Yeah. I'm too busy to get the Heisman Trophy.
All right. I think Rob is still in Central Park unless he has frozen.
He should be.
All right. How are you doing, Rob? I know it's chilly out there.
I mean, talk about a guy who's got a right to pull a Dylan. I mean, it's cold out there. Come back in here.
Exactly. There's a full-on APB out for Bob Dylan. He's not jogging in Central Park. I can tell you that. There are those hardcore runners that are out here getting it done. God bless them. It is chilly, well below freezing, and cold enough for snow. All right, let's time out the snow and show you what interstates are going to be affected. Once again, yesterday we had a slew of pileups around the Great Lakes. Interstate 80, Interstate 90, in and around Detroit, Interstate 75. This storm will continue to bring snows to those areas. It'll get into western parts of New York beginning tonight, and it will start as snow across the New York area as well, and it will accumulate just outside the city and just outside of Boston before it turns over to mostly rain or all rain along the I-95 corridor tomorrow morning. But north of, say, 84, it's going to be a bit of a mess. And then here come more in the way of lake effect snow showers, because we're talking about that cold blast that will be reinforced. And there'll be pockets of 6 to 12 inches, I think, in parts of upstate New York. But again, the big cities should be okay and warm down across the south, which is where we should be going. All right, let's quick check on what's going on nationally. Here now is your local forecast. Check it out.
And a very good morning, meteorologist Brian Vandergraff. On a Sunday morning, a few flurries were flying north of town this morning. Low 30s eventually will give way to low 40s for the afternoon. Not the prettiest of days, but for the most part dry. There is some moisture moving in later tonight. Rain locally, but off to the north and west could be a little bit of sleet to freezing rain. Could be a few slick spots north and west. That's why they have a freezing rain advisory. Washington, Berkeley, Frederick westward. But then by tomorrow during the day, we all switch back to rain, and then we clear out. But notice how cold we get for Thursday and Friday.
Whether you like it or not, Ron, I'm coming inside. I'll see you in the
No, you stay out there. No, no.
Oh, come on.
We get security to
Remind
keep
him what Dylan said. You don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows.
Exactly.
Hey, no.
I know, that was getting personal for you, Rob.
Rob's job is always